This is Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about.
Get real.
No.
Y'all, this
just
is
stop.
a sham.
It's finally here. Drum roll.
Welcome to DBL. Happy Wednesday, everybody. It is a very exciting day here at DBL. You want to know why?
Why?
We're revealing the winners of our Big Sandal Sweepstakes today.
Yes.
2 people will walk away with an all-inclusive 4-day and 3-night escape at any Sandals resort for 2. Are you one of the big winners? We got to stick around to find out. That's 4 people in total. Gonna have to enjoy a good trip.
Yeah.
If you want to bring Al with you, he's willing to go.
Yes. All those couches pull out. Come on.
All right, let's get to it, guys, because we're starting today with Oprah, and she's reflecting on her relationship with her weight and some of the most hurtful moments she's experienced. While on the Jamie Kern Lima podcast, she talked about the months after she famously brought out that wagon full of fat on her show in 1988. Remember that? Take a look.
I didn't have a morsel of food for 5 solid months in losing that weight on OptiFast, that 3 days later, I was 5 pounds heavier. And a week later, I was 10 pounds heavier. The week before Christmas, I remember Don Johnson of Miami Vice was having a party, and it invited me and some members of my show to come, and I wouldn't go because I thought I was too fat to go. I'd gone from 145 on the day of the show, and I think I was 157 in the course of like a week and a half or 2. And the shame started again.
She also reflected on how making fun of her weight was like, quote, a national sport for 25 years. She also touched on this in Living Color sketch, where she was ruthlessly mocked. Let's take a look at that.
I remember in Living Color, one of the most hurtful things was in Living Color, had done a skit where the woman was doing something and she just kept eating and getting fatter and fatter and fatter. And the comedy bit was that eventually she just exploded. And the whole audience fell out. And the woman was me. But that was just accepted. That was just a thing that was accepted. So I have borne this weight thing and carried it to the point where I just feel like I'm just recently turned 70, and I'm not carrying it into the next decade.
I'm not sure who Jamie Kern Lima is, but that's a good get. Oprah's a good get.
It is. So she is the one of the owners and founders of It Cosmetics, which is a fantastic cosmetics line. We would love to have some makeup here.
I know, it's a good get, but let's go back to what Oprah said. You said something, we were talking about it, and you said something beautiful earlier, I thought.
Well, basically, when something plagues you, and everybody has something that they feel insecure about, and it becomes the focus of why people identify you or why people are scrutinizing you, it does become very hurtful because that's something that you're already sensitive about. But I want to touch on something that she said about in Living Color was the most hurtful thing that she experienced. And as our friend Brandon London used to say all the time, it be your own people. Mm-hmm. And in Living Color was such an important part of pop culture, and it was so representative of the Black and brown community, and to have that scrutiny coming from, quote, your own people tends to have an added layer of stress and an added layer of disappointment. So I can understand why she felt the most hurt by that parody.
I totally understand that. I also just want to say, what happens when you feel shame and anger and resentment and hurt? When you're having an eating problem, you eat more. Mm-hmm. That's the cycle.
It's like a coping mechanism.
It's the cycle. You emotionally eat. I know family members that do this. So they stash food, they keep food, they hold food. It must have just kept her going and never ends, never ends, never ends. I'm glad society has shifted a little. I'm glad she's able to have this conversation and we respond in a nuanced manner. That must have been very, very difficult to hide behind, because I was laughing at those in Living Color jokes. I sure was.
Everyone.
Right, I was sure. I'm not going to lie up here. I sure was.
Right. Well, I think you're one of few, you guys. I think a lot of people look at that and say, how could that have been on television? Well, it's on television because it was very popular. It's easier to for us to look at somebody that gave an interview that asked some untoward questions, and we say, well, they should be canceled retroactively. What should we do with this person? The issue is that society was allowing and wanted to hear the answers to these questions to these young kids. Society was laughing when there were overweight people being mocked on television. Society was laughing when people with certain handicaps were being mocked on television, including myself, including somebody that's grown up in a family with people with special needs. It was just the time. And I think a lot of the anger that we feel retroactively is really pointed at a few people, but it's really at us.
Yourself.
Because there's a disappointment.
Sure.
And I think
that you allowed that.
Right. And that's why, yes, we talk about us going from maybe being too conservative with comedy to too liberal with comedy. But when that pendulum does swing back, I think that even though maybe the jokes will be a little bit more racy and push the edge a little bit more, it won't be, we will have learned something.
Yeah.
And we'll have learned, hey, when you mock a 16-year-old girl about her weight, that's not okay.
Yeah.
And that has nothing to do with comedy. That's about us evolving as human beings.
Yeah.
So
And seeing
let's
the
hope that we have, and seeing the consequences. There's
How
real
much do you
people.
think we have evolved? Like the entertainment industry has evolved for sure, right? But with the addition of social media, people still are mocking people,
Yeah, of
right?
course.
So maybe we haven't changed that much.
I don't think that we as individual people, like demographically, have really changed.
Right.
I think that with any topic, there's always going to be people who are 100% staunch in their position. There are going to be the people who are in the middle who could swing either way. Right. And then there are going to be the people who are absolutely against it. I think the microphones have changed.
Yeah.
We have more representation for different groups of people versus when Oprah was being mocked on, in Living Color. I'm sure there were people who were like, that is completely inappropriate and unacceptable, but they didn't have any way of getting their voices out there.
Sure.
And that's what we're hearing is a diversity of voices.
And the last thing, just to give you hope, Jeff, what's changed the most that I've noticed is our kids.
Yeah.
I look at my kids that are, 16, 17. If they watched a skit in which the R word was used or an F-bomb was used, the really offensive one, they would recoil. And when we were growing up in middle school and high school, people use that word like a connecting verb. So
the language is used.
We may have evolved somewhat, but the best thing is our kids wouldn't even understand what that skit was about.
Yeah.
So that's the point.
Connecting verb. Remember Mad Libs?
Oh, yeah.
I grew up in a banana.
Coming up on TV. Our interview with Darius Rucker. He's talking about being back on tour with Hootie and the Blowfish after 15 years. Plus, Tom Hanks and Robin Wright reunite for a new movie where they play younger and older versions of themselves. It's a beautiful, you got to watch the trailer. We're going to talk about it next. Welcome back. Tom Hanks is starring in a new, I don't know why I screamed that.
Tom Hanks! Jeez.
All right, here we go. He's starring in a new movie with his Forrest Gump co-star Robin Wright called Here. The movie follows a couple throughout their life, but get this. The camera never moves from a fixed position inside their home. It's beautiful. Take a look.
You could spend the rest of the night here.
I could spend the rest of my life here.
This was our home. We lived here.
Man, I'm very emotional these days.
No, because that's like...
It's beautiful.
That's
in
so
case you didn't notice, Tom and Robin are de-aged in the film, but they are playing their younger selves in the movie, and it looks like they're playing versions of themselves. Look at this, from 30 years ago in Forrest Gump.
Not Janae.
Yeah, Janae.
Janae. I wonder if there's a part where he's running and we're like, run, Forrest. I don't know. There's something about my house is 1925.
You ruined everything.
No, it's a house from 100 years ago, and I think people went through the Depression in this house. They saw the man walk on the moon on this house. They went through World War II and probably rationed in this house. Like, there's something beautiful to the history of a home, the soul and heart of a home.
I mean, there is something that, usually I'm caught off guard with things like this, because usually it's a Super Bowl commercial, and I'm just chilling, eating Fun Dip, and all of a sudden they have a commercial like this where they show the evolution of a life, where it goes from like the 40s to now, and they're taking grams up the stairs, and I'm like, what is happening to my eyes right now? And I think it's when you pull back and you get that view from the blimp cam, and you see your life in its totality, because the day-to-day slugging it out, you don't have time to stop and reminisce about anything. But when you see, like, oh, we did stuff, and I saw my son, run here,
And then she doesn't remember in the end.
Yeah.
She doesn't remember. So many people are going through that right now.
But that's a representation
It is.
all of us.
But it doesn't take away from the fact that all that stuff happened.
That she was there. She was here. Yeah.
Then you got a chance to live a life. I think that's the biggest
deal. And it really shines the light on what's important.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
This is all you need. One home.
One room.
One love, like whatever it is, your family's most important. Yeah. I'm going to a deep place.
There's a reason I stopped talking.
Oh my God. All right.
I know this feeling.
I'm not going to cry the whole show. Coming up on DBL, stick around, because we're going to be announcing the 2 lucky winners in our sandals giveaway, and we're talking with Darius Rucker. He's reflecting on the ups and downs of the music industry in his new memoir. Welcome back. Not only did he conquer the world of pop as the lead singer of Hootie and the Blowfish, but he is also one of the biggest country stars on the planet. Earlier, we spoke with Darius Rucker. Take a look.
So rock me, mama, like a wagon wheel. Rock me, mama, any way you feel. Hey, mama, rock me.
Ooh, it's always a good time when he's here. Please welcome back to DBL, Darius Rucker. Yeah, buddy. Doing good.
How are you guys?
Your memoir is called Life is Too Short. Now, please tell me that there is a story that led you to that specific title.
You know, the title actually came about, well, first of all, it's a song of mine, but really when I was writing the memoir, I didn't have like any notes or anything, so I was just writing from my memory. And I realized every time I started writing about something, it seemed like it was yesterday.
Yeah.
And you know, a lot of that stuff was a long time ago, and it just really made me think about, wow, you know, life is pretty short when you're writing about your life, and it just seemed like the right title.
Do you remember when you were a young guy and like your dad and your uncles would be like, oh, it's gonna fly by, and you're like, whatever. Like I used to think, like, what are you talking about? And then you blink and you have friends you haven't seen in 20 years. My son is taller than me, and you're like, what the hell happened? Yeah.
Exactly. My son's 6'4", and I go, dude, I remember when you were, you know, up to my knee, walking around.
And
I was beating you in basketball. I can't do that anymore.
So let's talk about Hootie and the Blowfish, because it has this clean image, but in reality, you did a lot of partying and drugs.
We did.
How did you quit that lifestyle?
It was pretty easy for me. When it was time to quit, you know, I talk about it in the book, when it was time to quit, I really just one day called the guys up and said I'm done, and got my own bus, and, you know, just started doing my own thing. It was, yeah, you know, for me, when I quit, it was time to quit. And it was a good thing, and, you know, it didn't affect anything. We still out there playing, still out there doing what we're doing, still being best friends. But, you know, after the show, I wasn't hanging out much anymore.
That's what it is.
I know, good for you. Okay, now you are back on tour after 15 years. Is this your last tour? Never say never?
We didn't, you know, we decided we weren't going to say it's our last tour, because, you know, so many bands go, this is our last tour, and then 3 years later, they're out doing it again. But if you were to ask me right now, I would say it's probably the last time we go on tour.
No!
Wow. So you got to be there.
Yeah, get your tickets.
Yeah. So you are one of the few award-winning Black country music stars, and recently you spoke out about Beyonce's album. So why do you think she is needed, or so needed, in country music?
You know, I thought it was great what she did, because she brought so many more eyes to country music, so many more ears to country music that would have never listened or never given it a shot. They gave it a shot because Beyonce was there, you know. And I was saying to a friend the other day, I was like, I hope, like, some people that listen to Beyonce and who said I would never like country music, you know, find some other artist that they go, okay, I like this too, you know, I like that too. And whenever you're bringing eyes like she did to the genre, it's always a good thing, and it's a great record.
So when you were in college, did you have a go-to song when you were trying to impress a girl?
Yeah. I did. And it was a song I was singing. It was a song I was singing that day. It's "Honesty" by Billy Joel.
Honesty is hardly ever heard, and mostly what I need from you.
I love that song, and the funny thing is, you know, we had the prison showers with, you know, just 6 heads, no curtains or anything, and the acoustics were amazing in there, and I thought everybody was in class, and I'm singing it to the top of my lungs. I mean, I'm belting it out, and I walked out of there, and Mark heard me and said, hey, let's see if we know any same songs, and that was the day Hootie and the Blowfish started.
Dang.
I'm sorry, I'm unfamiliar with that song. How does it go?
Uh-huh.
Honesty is such a lonely word. Everyone is so untrue. It's a great song.
Yeah, that was great.
Smart.
Hey, do you want to start a band?
Yes, I do. Yes.
All right,
Well,
all right.
you know, Darius, obviously you've been busy. You got the memoir, but also you've created your own wine. Now, I was excited and happy for you, but see, I think country, I think you got a pickup truck, I think you got your best dog with you, and you got some whiskey. So, does wine go with country music?
Oh, absolutely, 100%. You know, I think a lot of the folks I know in country music are more wine drinkers than whiskey drinkers, because wine's so social. You know, you can open a bottle of wine, sit around with your friends, and all have some of it. And, you know, not a lot of people want to drink a glass of Jim Beam with you. You know, they'll have a glass of wine with you. And I think wine's just universal for friendships and stuff like that, and that's what we're all about at One Crew Wine. It's about the crew. It's about the people around you.
That's
One
it.
Crew
Yes.
Wine. That is so cool.
Nothing ever happens with I met your father right after he had 2 glasses of Jim Beam. Like that's never. I bailed him out and we fell in love.
There you have it. Thank you so much, Darius. Always great to have you on the show. DBL Nation, you can find all the things Darius is up to on his Instagram, Darius Rucker. Thank you again. Congrats. We'll be right back. Thanks, Darius.
Thanks, man.
Thank you guys very much.
Welcome back. If you feel like you're paying more for groceries, gas, and utilities, you are, because in the past 3 years, inflation is up more than 6%, and it doesn't seem to be going down anytime soon. So are you guys cutting back? Are you guys feeling it a little bit, cutting back on anything?
I'm making my smoothies, and I brought my bento box for lunch.
Oh.
Which I'm really excited about.
So you brought lunch?
I brought lunch, yeah. Usually I'll order out, which is pretty bad habit, so I'm trying to get better habits financially.
The smoothie situation alone saves you what, $10?
Sometimes it can be 11, 12, and I add my own kale, like you taught me, a little chia seed. I got a banana, some frozen strawberries, blueberries.
Don't forget the flaxseed in there.
I got the flax seeds in there too.
Proud of you. I like it.
Yeah.
Smoothies, Jeff, you've been on them forever. They taste great, so yeah.
This isn't an ad for smoothies. Going on a budget is a great way to help with rising costs, and so is understanding your Medicare benefits. Insurance bills can be confusing, and Better Benefits can help navigate those costs. When it comes to Medicare, many Americans already in the program may not have a plan with all the benefits accessible to them, so reach out to a Medicare Advantage advisor today. The benefits review is free. Just call 800-964-0416. And before we go, it's a very exciting day here because for the first time ever, we're announcing not one, but 2 winners in our sandals giveaway. It's not Tori. The lucky DBL viewers will win an all-inclusive 4-day, 3-night escape for 2 to any sandals resort of their choice in honor of Caribbean Heritage Month. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Get that drum roll going, T-Bone. The first winner is Karen Konchik. Karen watches on Charlotte's WCNC station, my wife's hometown. She says her nephew introduced her to DBL and has been watching almost every day since. Karen, congratulations and thank you. The second winner is, we'll give you a drum roll too, Joyce Pollock. She and her husband, John, there they are. Congratulations is in order too. They just celebrated their 42nd wedding anniversary. They watch DBL on WTOL 11 and say they're touched by the show every single day and that Jeff is their favorite host.
They did not
so
say
beautiful.
that. They did
wasn't
not.
in the prompter?
No,
All
it
right.
was not.
Congrats to the winners and thank you everyone for entering. But that's 4 people going on a free trip. That was 8.
That was 8.
Yeah.
Doubled it.
What if they showed up and we were just all down there like, hey, and I'm sure initially they'd be excited and then we'd have dinner and drinks and then they'd be like, so where are you guys staying? And we're like, we're in your room.
We're with you.
Each gets 2 hosts. Yeah.
And all we do when they go to bed is we sing, hey, oh, hey.
Until they call security.
They certainly
That's
would.
great.
But this is a lovely gift for people that have been watching.
I
They're
would
loyal.
say beyond a lovely
Yes,
gift.
and we're happy to be able to give that away generously.
Yeah, and to celebrate what a wedding anniversary it's going to be, right?
42 years.
That's a big
That's amazing.
congratulations.
That's amazing.
After seeing all those pictures, I kind of want to get down there.
Trust me.
You just after seeing the pictures?
It just hit me now.
Jeff- Yeah,
After
you just
months
got
of
it.
promoting this, it just hit me.
Jeff just heard that the Caribbean is beautiful.
Yep. There's water there.
Those pictures are beautiful.
I know.
All right, congratulations to the big winners. We'll see you tomorrow.